The Dallas Mavericks were one of my biggest winners from the NBA offseason. The Mavs were aggressive in making some upgrades as they recognized that their window to win is right now. The Mavericks, of course, fell short in the NBA Finals against the Boston Celtics, but they're looking to get back there and finish the job this time around. I believe the Mavericks are going to be even better entering the 2024-2025 season, and in today's video, I'm going to be taking a look at the moves they made this offseason and where they stack up in the Western Conference. If you happen to be a favorite, please hit a like on the video. It does help it a ton. And also, please subscribe to the channel for more Mavericks and NBA content just like this. And shout out to BetUS for sponsoring today's video. The big splash for the Mavericks this offseason was, of course, acquiring Klay Thompson. The Mavericks technically traded for him, but he was their #1 free agent target from the start of the offseason. It did cost the Mavs Josh Green in the sign and trade that involved 6 teams. This was actually the most teams ever involved in one transaction, but for the Mavs, it was pretty simple for them to pull this off once Thompson agreed to the 3-year, $50 million contract that the Mavericks could offer with the salary cap restraints. Thompson will now step into the starting lineup alongside Luka Doncic and Kyrie Irving, as Thompson is going to add another deadly layer to this Mavs offensive attack. The Mavericks now have perhaps the NBA's best ball handler in Irving, the best shooter in Thompson when he's at the peak of his powers, and arguably the best overall player in Luka Doncic when it comes to just scoring, rebounding, and playmaking. Firepower is definitely not going to be an issue for this Mavs team, and trust that Jason Kidd will figure things out and make everything work together. But when you look at this big three, it definitely has a strong chance of working for the best, as these 3 players can complement each other so well. The Mavericks, they also added Najee Marshall, as the Mavericks did have their mid-level exception to work with, so Marshall was a perfect fit for them, as he clearly is going to be part of the replacement team to pick up the slack for the loss of Derrick Jones Jr. Of course, this was a big loss for the Mavs, as Jones Jr. was consistently the Mavericks' best wing defender. If you look at Marshall, he's capable of handling any role the Mavericks throw at him, and he was actually good in his role with the Pelicans. So I think Marshall is going to fit in nicely in Dallas. Then you look at the other Mavs pickup, Quentin Grimes. The Mavericks, they traded veteran swingman Tim Hardaway Jr. to the Pistons for Grimes, and Grimes is a strong defender, and he can knock down 3-pointers as well, so that's going to be huge. And Grimes is a quality floor stretcher. He's a career 37% 3-point shooter, and he's also a very good defender, and he will give the Mavericks a different look from off the bench. So I think Grimes is going to be able to deliver on both ends of the floor, and he is going to be able to produce a lot of value for the Mavericks. So definitely do not sleep on Quentin Grimes on the Mavericks. Now guys, before I continue on with this video, I do want to mention that today's video sponsor is BetUS Sportsbook and Casino, and if you're looking for a new book this basketball season, BetUS is the answer. They got you covered. They're currently offering a 125% bonus on your first 3 deposits, up to $2,000. I used them all last season, especially during that Mavericks run to the NBA Finals, and something that I got my eyes on right now, I mean, the Dallas Mavericks, they, I think, are going to be one of the top teams again in the Western Conference. So when you look at their chances to get out of the West once again, right now you could get Dallas at plus 450. So, I mean, if you think Dallas, they have what it takes to do it again, they clearly are going to have the roster to work with, you can definitely sprinkle some money on that. So guys, go check out BetUS today. Proud sponsor of this channel. Thank you to BetUS for sponsoring today's video. The Mavericks, they also brought in Spencer Dinwiddie, a little reunion, as Dinwiddie played very well for the Mavericks when he was here the last time, and after they signed Marshall, the Mavericks, they were down to only veteran minimum salaries, and that was enough to lure Dinwiddie, who finished last season with the Los Angeles Lakers. Remember, there were rumors that Dinwiddie was going to find himself on the Mavs, but he ended up going to LA at the time. But you look at Dinwiddie, he's going to be a really nice add-on to this Mavericks roster. He's going to give them as another ball handler. And Dinwiddie, he enjoyed some of his best NBA moments in his 76-game tenure with the Mavericks. And he was a key component to that 2022 Western Conference Finals team. So Dinwiddie, I think, is going to be just another excellent add-on. He's obviously familiar with the system. When you look at Dinwiddie, he was a big bonus for this Mavericks team in 2022. And at the time, he was arguably their 3rd best player. So he's going to obviously rank a little bit lower when it comes to this depth chart, but that's going to be perfectly fine, as Dinwiddie can definitely make the most out of his opportunity, and I think he's going to be a nice piece for this Mavs team from off the bench. And I'm not the only one high on what the Mavs have done. Shams went on to say this about the Mavericks offseason, as he picked them as one of his biggest offseason winners.
And like the Mavericks, I mean,
Yes.
I do think when you think about that position that Klay Thompson's going to play, I mean, he's really just filling Tim Hardaway's role. And Tim Hardaway kind of became the odd man out in that environment. And Klay, I think, is going to fit perfectly there as the 3-man and someone that they're going to rely on. Championship pedigree.
And when you look at the Mavs, they not only added the firepower scorer in Klay Thompson, but I like how they added Dinwiddie to help with the ball handling for Irving and Doncic. And then I like how Dallas brings in a guy like Najee Marshall, tough-minded small forward with a long wingspan. He's going to be able to help guard the team's best scorer. And then you look at the other big move, Quentin Grimes. I mean, they doubled down essentially on a defensive small forward, and Grimes, he's going to be able to slow down opposing teams' top scorers as well. So I know it was a big loss losing Derrick Jones Jr., but I think they were able to supplement some of that lost defense with the pieces that they brought in with Najee Marshall and Quentin Grimes. And you look at Dallas, I mean, there was no fluke that this team made it to the NBA Finals last season, guys. I really think they are going to be in a prime position once again to make a run, make a push. The Western Conference, you look at the landscape right now, OKC, they're obviously going to be a really good team. You're going to have Minnesota again. You can never count out the Nuggets, but I think Dallas is going to be in that top 3. I really think Dallas is going to have another excellent shot to get out of the Western Conference. And you look at their starting lineup for next season, I mean, you can't find too many starting lineups that are going to be better than this from top to bottom when you're talking about Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, Klay Thompson, PJ Washington, Derek Lively II. We haven't even talked about PJ Washington. This is going to be, you know, his first full season with the Mavs. Obviously, Daniel Gafford coming off the bench. And then Derek Lively II, I think, is going to be the wild card in all this. I think he's really going to level up his game. We saw how deadly, how crucial he was for this Mavs team, particularly in that postseason run. I think Derek Lively II is going to just step his game up, and really he's going to end up being a huge piece to this Mavs team and their success. And really, I know the perimeter defense is questionable, but you look at Lively and Washington, they're going to be able to do great things defensively themselves in that front court. So I know Dallas, they're getting a lot of flack for their defense, but when you look at this team, this is a solid roster. And, you know, they did lose some big pieces, but at the same time, they were able to supplement with some nice pieces coming on back. So the Dallas Mavericks, guys, I'm high on them. I think they're going to be even better this season. And, yeah, this team's going to be a lot of trouble for the opposition. And it's going to be fun to see how this team plays with all of these pieces integrated for a full season. So let me know your thoughts, guys. Hit a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you are new. That is it for me. It's Lucas signing off. Thanks so much for watching. I will catch you all again in the next video.